Okay.
Yeah, we are live. Hello, good evening, and welcome to
Hi.
Evening Conversations with me. Okay, I am Hannah Akinjobi. Okay, actually, you're going to hear me say this evening because this is actually being recorded in the evening. So, whenever you get to watch this, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you so much for coming around to watch this. Okay, this evening I'm not alone. I'm with two amazing ladies, in fact, two amazing women of God. I'm going to introduce them straight up. I have Aderonke Adeniro. She is an avid learner, a teacher of God's word. She's also very passionate about parenting. In fact, I call her the parenting mama. She's passionate about parenting as a tool for kingdom building and societal transformation. Aderonke is the founder of Parents Connect and the host of Faith Connect, a Christian talk show where she shares real-time stories of faith. Welcome to this conversation, Aderonke. Thank you so much for coming around. And I have
Thank you,
another
Anna.
Yeah, I have another lady. She's the etiquette mama. She's a prim and proper woman. Her name is Uche Imafidon. You need to meet Uche one on one. You understand what I'm trying to say. Uche is an etiquette consultant and a refinement coach who is keen about helping people realize who they really are and works to help them refine their character and to polish their personality and persona. Uche is also a minister of the Gospel of Jesus Christ. She's a trained relationship counselor and an on-air presenter. She currently runs a YouTube channel and a podcast on Anchor known as Refining Moments with Uche. You really need to check it out. It's amazing. Where she discusses topics bordering on personal development, character, and personality refinement, relationship, among other things. Uche is also an author of a book titled The Polished and Classy You. Thank you so much for coming around, Uche Imafidon.
Thank
I'm so
you so much.
excited to have
Thank
you
you for
around.
having me. I am
Thank
so delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming around, ladies. So let's just shoot. Let's go straight to the discussion for this evening. This evening, we'll be discussing what I titled The Days of Small or the Days of New Beginnings. And before I go further, I want to make some clarifications. I want to lay this foundation because I love doing this. Now, the days of small beginnings is not just about, it's not only about the early years of your career, your profession, your business, ministry, or personal life. All these are a part of it, quite all right. But there could come a time or a season in your life when God may want you to venture into something entirely new, or you find yourself being drawn into something new, and you may have to start small and start learning the ropes. This could happen to you at any point in your life. If you really want to go far, if you really want to become all that God has planned for you, you must be sensitive to times and seasons. There will always be a season, there will always be a sign in your life where God may want you to step up or come into an entirely new field, because we have been made for a whole lot. That's one thing we don't know. We're made for a whole lot. And this could happen. You could be 45, you could be 50 when you experience this sudden attraction. In the Bible says God called Abraham out of his community at the age of 75. Abraham was already a grown man, he was wealthy, but at 75, God called him out into something new. So, this is for every one of us. This is for that person who is flexible enough with God, who is sensitive enough of the times and seasons of his life. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and we're going to go right straight into our conversation and our questions. So, Ms. Aderonke, I'm going to ask you the first question this evening. In your own opinion, what does it mean to be in a season of small beginnings or new beginnings?
Okay, thank you, Hannah. You've said a lot already to set the ball rolling on this topic because the example you gave of Abraham is such a very um, is an apt example in this situation. And like you said, small beginning does not only apply to business because a lot of times when we hear things like that, we want to quickly associate it with financial success, career, and things like that. But really, it could extend to other areas of our lives. And like you said, God usually will be calling us into things that we're not familiar with. We are often called into unfamiliar terrains at ages where we probably think we're already established in something we're already doing, and we're not expecting that the tide can turn anymore. And so often the fear of the familiar makes it difficult for us to make that transition. But well, days of small beginnings are days of, well, small beginnings. They are days when you seem to be putting in a lot of effort and probably you're generating little results or results not commensurate with the effort that you're putting into an endeavor or a venture. They are days where you seem not to be measuring up to what you think is your own capacity, usually by our own estimate of ourselves or what we think we can do and all these things. So usually it's usually from the perspective of the person who is wearing the shoe that it looks like small beginnings. Because a lot of times, what actually is your small beginning is something another person is, looking at and is getting really impressed about. That you did that, you started that, but to you, because in your estimate of yourself, you expect more, or you think you're worthy of more, or you understand by virtue of what you have achieved, where you're coming from, and whatever. I mean, this is not it for me at this point in my life. So for you, it's a small beginning. But in some other cases, it's actually really literal in terms of that you're feeling it in your finances. Money isn't rolling in, things are just a little not together, as it were. So those are days of small beginning, usually characterized by results not commensurate with effort, with input. Basically, that's it.
Thank you so much for that. That's fantastic. That foundation. Uche, I would like to also hear from you, from your opinion. What would you call such a season?
Okay. I think, by the way, thank you once again for having me. I think I'll go with what Adironke said. So it all depends. Small beginning is relative. So what someone else calls small beginning may not necessarily be what someone else may call small beginning. And I think basically it's about perspective. So if you have a clear understanding of why you had to start where you're starting from, I think it would help you with the journey so that you're not, because a lot of the times I see seeing people, because they termed it as small beginning, so it tends to kind of like um, not allow them giving their all. They are sulking, they are not happy, especially those who seem to have gone so far gone in their life's journey. And then they tend to get, to come back to start from another point. So if one approaches that with a clear understanding of, okay, I think this is where I should be at this time, it may not necessarily be a small beginning at the end of the day. It may just be beginning and take the small away. Just okay, this is another beginning point for me, and then just take it off from there. You tend to sail better from that point with that perspective than seeing it as small beginning. You're just there, helpless kind of situation and all that. So, but that's what I think I need to just add to what Aderonke, the foundation that Aderonke already laid regarding that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You said it's relative. Thank you so much. Okay. To my next question, Aderonke. In a season like this, in such a season, what's the best heart position you would advise someone in that season to take, or the best position of the heart the person should have or be in? Okay, I think we lost Deronke, but we're just going to wait a bit for her to come. While okay, let me ask Uche this question while we wait for Deronke to come. Uche, in a season like this, you always have situations where you have people who do not entirely believe in you. They just feel, what's this? What are you up to? And not everybody will believe in whatever you are trying to venture in, of course. But when it comes to close family, close spouse, close friends, and family members who don't believe in you, it's a different story entirely. So how do you handle family members and close spouse who do not believe in your new season, who do not believe in your new vision? How do you go through? How do you handle such?
Okay, so the thing is, of course, it's very true. Especially when you're starting out, and even you sometimes, the whole starting out is not that clear. In trying to explain what you're about to do, people tend to look at you as confused. People tend to look at you as one who's not certain. And so it's always very difficult to get people to buy into the vision at the time. It would only take a few people who are likely to see beyond their nose, just say, okay, let's see how it goes. And so, but one thing is, the best way to convey your message, your conviction to others is for you to be convinced beyond every reasonable doubt. To say, okay, this is what I want to do. And then as you get on with it and they begin to see little results here and there, results cannot be denied, So when people begin to see that you're beginning to produce results here and there, then at that point they want to have a new conversation with you to say, okay, I think this person knows what he or she is about. So the first person, I think when anyone even needs to start out, do not be concerned about what family members, even down to people who are married. Sometimes even your spouse may not seem to get the picture of what you're trying to portray. Yeah. Do you understand? So, but if you just keep it, just keep believing in that vision and keep it, and you start to produce results. I am telling you, you'll be amazed at the people who will just, gravitate towards you and begin to say, oh, I've always known that you do well. And those are the people who are trying to talk you out of it initially. But because now they can see something that you are producing as a result of your own firm belief, now they can navigate. So, but at that point, you do not even need to, begin to bear grudge against anyone, because nobody owe you any form of allegiance. Yes, I know that at some point you actually would really, really make do with some support from your, especially your close family members. But if that's not coming, it's okay. There's no need for you to get bitter. There's no need for you to get all angry. And one thing I know and I love about when you are pursuing your vision is sometimes the help that you even require may not necessarily come from those that are really close to you. You'd be amazed that the person who will now carry on his or her head is someone who may not even know you at that point. So you just know, okay, I really do not have to have anything against anyone. Let me just keep it. Let me just keep getting better. Over time, everybody will gravitate towards you.
Oh, thank you so much, Uche. Thank you so much. Beyond reasonable doubt, you have to be convinced and consistent. Stay at it. Is that your consistency? Then the result from your consistency that will make people begin to believe in you. Like someone said, they said it's results that cancels insults. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Aderonke, I was going to ask you about the heart position. What's the best heart position to be in that season?
Okay. It's a season to be open-minded, You have to be teachable, because really the most important thing about small beginnings is the lessons you learn in the process.
Right.
Okay, because
Lesson.
but a lot of times we can be closed up, like she said. Uche was talking about not begrudging people and all that, because like she said, you might not even be getting the support that you want. So there's a tendency to get into offense, bitterness, but that's a season to be open-minded. It's a season to be forgiving. It's a season to be teachable, to and also to be. That's the season you actually learn character as well, because if we are gunning for success, it's going to require character to sustain the success you eventually achieve. Okay, after the
Very
small
true.
beginning. But it is in the days of small beginning that character is built, that stability is built, the stick to itiveness, those things that would eventually help you to sustain the success you attain. It is in the days of small beginnings that you build those virtues in you. So it's a season to be open-minded, to be teachable. I think that's very important. Learn from the process, learn from interactions with people, learn, and also regarding what you're doing, get better at it. It's a time for research. It's a time to just learn. Be open-minded. Yes.
Thank you. It's a time to develop character and it's a time to learn. I understand that there are always lessons in such seasons. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so Uche, I want to also ask this. Sometimes I've seen situations where people have been in a particular on a particular level for quite some time, and okay, I've been here for quite a bit of time. How would one know when it's time to move on or move up to the next phase of that journey? How can one identify that it's time to move up to the next phase?
That's a good question. Okay, so I think I can totally relate to that question when, how that you tend to be in a particular state of life or position for like a really long time. Maybe not like long, but like you just feel like, see, I think I'm past this level. So I really want to move to another level. So, but how do you know that it's time for you to move? Okay, so the thing is, when you are at any level in life, it's not just about whether you think that you need to go past. As a matter of fact, I think you are talking from experience. There are times when you are at a phase or at a stage in life, and you just feel like, I think this is where I need to be at this point in time, right, of my journey. And then everything seems to be going all well and all that. But at some point, you just begin to, this realization begins to set in, like, see, I think I need to up my game. I think I need to move, and go beyond this level. Now, the moment you start to think that way, because that thought has actually not been something that you always having before that time. So the moment you begin to have such kind of thoughts, the next thing is you begin to look at, your current state and think, am I ready for, am I really ready for the next level? Am I really ready to pitch, to go beyond this point? What are the necessary things that I need to put in place? Like, going beyond, beyond that level requires a lot, definitely. It's not the you at this level that you would be at that other level. So for you to come to the place where you now think that I think I need to pitch, that means some things must have been happening to you. Some growth and development must have been happening in you that you now feel like, I think this place is beginning to get too small for this me that I'm becoming. I don't know if you understand it. So because you are, like you're beginning to become too oversized for that space, the space is no more containing you that way, and then that's when the moment you start to think that way, because the thought doesn't always come at every point in time. There are people who have stayed in a particular place for a really long time and they're just comfortable. So, but the moment you begin to think that, okay, I think it's time for me to move. That means there's something already inside of you that's saying it's time for you. So you look at it closely and be sure that your objective. You're not moving because you want to go for the big life. It's okay to desire the big life, but do you already have what it takes to sustain or to pitch to that big life and grow, all right, and grow from that point, so you don't jump off the boat so quickly and then crash land. Do you understand? So the moment that thought begins to come into your heart, that okay, then you begin to like do your evaluation, do your mind mapping and all that, and then if you're very sure, you get to that point where you just think, I think I'm ready to move. You just make the move, and then I think everything just fixes itself from that point as you keep going. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. We need to know when it's time to move. Thank you. I'm just going to move on to the
Yes.
next question for Aderon Care. Okay, so I've seen situations where certain persons have struggled with some visions, some ideas because they feel they need to be doing that thing. Have seen
Mm.
situations like that, and sometimes when you want to talk to them, they tell you, "Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be doing this." You know, sometimes people go into different fields or into different things for different reasons. Now, this is my question. In this kind of time or in such a season, how can one know if he's on the wrong path? Because sometimes things could get pretty difficult, and the person can just say, "Oh, I'm just in I'm just going through the betting pangs of new beginnings." But the person might be in the wrong path. It's very possible the person is doing the wrong thing. He's not supposed to be in that path. So, how would one know, that he's on the wrong path, or he's actually going through the betting pangs of small beginnings?
Okay, I would answer that question from based on my own personal experience. I think for me the simple answer is the act connection or disconnection, the heart connection or the disconnection you feel in your heart concerning what you're doing, because oftentimes we can tell. I remember listening to a man on social media sometimes, and the story of the man was such that he had such phenomenal success. He was running about how many organizations? Was it up to about 14 or so, 14 secretaries?
Wow.
In every sense of the world, the world's definition of success, it was a success, phenomenal success. And after about 30 years of having done all of that, God came and spoke to him that this is not what I want you to do. I want you to be doing something else and all that. And that kind of bothered me for, many days. I kept thinking about that story and saying, God, why now? I mean, he ran those organizations for 40 years, like, and one day, and then I was thinking, then I now asked a question, because all the while I was just bothered about it. Then I asked the Holy Spirit, like, what went down there? And what dropped in my spirit at that time was that no, his heart knew what he should be doing, but that was what appealed to his
Mm.
senses, okay? Because a lot of the times the things that
Mm.
catch our heart, the things that catch our heart are things that don't look like they can take us where we want to be in our own imaginations, and
Okay.
we have expectations we've cut for ourselves, and sometimes it doesn't look like this thing can get me there to where I want to be. But this other one, I mean, the gratification, that this is sure, this is a surer path than this other one. And so we can often stifle the voice of our heart to pursue those other things because they bring us immediate gratification in the moment. Okay, so for instance, I didn't include fashion designing in the what you read about me, my bio, but I was in fashion designing for many years of my life. And why was I there? Because it was gratifying. But I'd known since I was a young
Mm.
girl in GS3, when I had to do home economics, that I hated sewing or anything like that. I would do it well because I'm creative. So if you teach me, I will do it well. But the problem is the willingness to do it. So if I'm going to make a dress for myself before I went into it commercially, I could cut the fabric today and not feel like getting on the machine for another 3 months. So it is when I feel like it, the day I feel like going to the machine, that I go. But when I decided that, okay, this is lucrative, I have this skill and it's selling, and then I went into it, and I was doing it for years. And I was usually, you intermittently, I left it, I'll leave it, I'll come back. But the good thing about this is this business, it gives you instant reward. You bring your fabric, you drop money. So, so when I wake
Exactly.
up in the morning and my account is in zero, somebody comes with a fabric, I know that you will drop deposit first. At least we will have something to hold body together. And so that kept me in it for a
Exactly.
long time, until it got to a point where I was feeling depressed. Now I knew what I should be doing,
Mm.
but the truth, I would look at, God, this thing I should be doing, how will this one turn to money? We need money. You get what I'm trying to say? And so I now started feeling very unhappy for a long time. I was not sleeping well, I was not eating well, and I couldn't put my finger on it until one day. So in between, there are other things I do, which are things I'm passionate about, but I didn't build a steady line of business out of those ones because they come intermittently. And I could actually work on them to make, but the truth is, this one is just easier to, I can just coach here because it's easier. Businesses are already available in fashion line and all that. And so I got one of those projects, and I told my customers, I told them that I would be off for 1 month because I had something else to attend to. And my first day out on that project, my first respondent, I had that interview. I was beaming with smiles all the way home. I got home, I slept early. I didn't wake up until around 6 a.m. the next morning. Like, I didn't wake up. And I was like, what happened to me? And I just said, wow, just because of this interview I had with this person, and it worked, but it was fun for me. In fact, I remember that when I was done with that session, the person I went to speak with was like, I had fun. I was like, I had fun. We both had fun, but it was work. But
Mm.
the one that pays me instantly was the one I went for. So often, this is it. Your heart knows where you should be. And there's that joy, that sense of fulfillment and connection that we feel when we're in the right place. Like, you understand? So you could be feeling all these external pangs of pain and all that, but in your heart, there's a sense of joy. Do you understand? Like, you will do those things
Yeah.
and you're just happy. But then logic will now come and tell you that, so, okay, oh, madam, well done. So how about the bill you have to pay tomorrow? And that's where the problem
Mm.
starts. What do you think people think of you? You, a whole you, this is what you're doing. But in your heart, there's joy. So everybody has that sense of fulfillment that comes from within, which we cannot deny. We can decide to ignore it, but it's always there. It's always there because God is faithful. That there's a scripture that says He has put eternity in our hearts. He has put
Yeah.
eternity in our heart. So it's really the heart thing. The heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. So
Thank
to
you.
get
That's
to
right.
there, yes.
So we have to watch out for the sense of joy and the sense of fulfillment.
Mm.
Beyond the instant gratification. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're almost winding up. Uche, please, what's the role of a mentor in this season? Please.
Okay, so before I answer the question, I just want to say, I mean, Ronke, that was powerful, really. I'm telling you, if people can just be very objective to connect to their hearts, I mean, because that's why you're even here in the first place. You're not here to pay bills, all right? I know that the bills are there, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
there's a connection between your fulfillment and joy and what you are being designed specifically to do. So once you find it, just do it already and save time. Look at that man, 40 years. Are you kidding me? It is well. So back to my question, Derry. Okay, so the role of a mentor in this time and age, I think, like for all seasons, the roles of mentors are highly, very, very critical because talking about, see a very beautiful experience that Ronke has shared with her life and all that. Imagine that there's someone who's also going through a similar situation, like a younger person who's going through a similar situation has got a lot of bills to pay and all that, and it's just turning between following passion or following purpose and following survival, and just, I mean, with a person like her coming into play to say, okay, you know what, I have been there and this is it. Let me help, let me help give you one or two advice and all that. I'm telling you, it will touch up. Imagine that man that, like the story that she gave, the one that had spent like 40 years of his life. Imagine that he had had a mentor to have coached him earlier. He would not have wasted 40 years is not 40. Is it 40 or 14, Ronke?
30.
30
30.
years. That's so
That's a
imagine that I
whole
had
lot.
had a mentor. Okay,
Mm.
fantastic. All of those mistakes and errors would have been cut off from his journey. But so I'm saying this to say that the role of a mentor in this time and age cannot be overemphasized. Like, it is so highly needed. It's important that you find someone who has probably gone, on that journey that you are just about to start or you're on already, and see, how you can connect to learn all the experiences. Like they always say that experience is the best teacher, right? But people have said that you may not necessarily be your own experience. Of course, you can't take away your own experience being the best teacher for you, but sometimes learning from someone who has gone through the same journey can be very
Oh, I think it's her
Wow.
network.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's her network. We'll just go on while we wait for her to get back.
all right.
Okay, she's
Oh,
back.
Okay.
okay. I was the one that got locked up,
Yeah,
got locked out, right?
yeah, we lost you at a point. You're back. Please go on.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I was saying that the role of mentors in our lives as we journey along is highly, highly important. Like, you can't even play down on it. It's important
Mm.
to find someone, to look at someone that you can pattern your, not necessarily follow, their every step, right? But just look at what they're doing and some of the mistakes, more especially, look out for the lessons in their mistakes so that you can avoid making. Of course, there's no way you cannot make mistakes. There's no way you
Mm.
cannot make your own mistakes, but there are some mistakes that can be very well avoided with the
Yeah.
presence and the help of a mentor, right? So I think that's why it's highly important that we all have, people that we look at and just try to pattern our lives after, based on how well they have lived their own lives or they are living their own lives.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you. This cannot be overemphasized. The role of a mentor. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you so much. So, for my last question for today, to Ronke, how can someone cut or severe negative cycles or negative patterns in the days of new beginnings or small beginnings? Because if you just let me not talk about it. So just answer how
No, I
can
need a
one.
little clarification on that question actually.
Okay,
So
so
maybe.
negative cycles could come in any form or in any way. So you could be on the right path, or you can find yourself doing the wrong thing
Oh,
in
okay.
that journey. How can one know that, okay, I'm not doing the right thing, and how do I cut that cycle?
Okay. Okay. Uche has touched a bit on that when she was talking about experience not being the best teacher necessarily, and when she was talking about mentorship. These things are
Yeah.
important. It's like a story I heard about someone who was at an airport and he saw the inscription, "You don't make the same mistake once." And so he found that a bit
Mm,
confusing, that don't make the same mistake once. Like, what does that mean? And so they explained to him that it means someone has made it. Why make it? So you really don't have to make the same
mm,
mistake once if someone has made it. So mentoring is going to do a lot of help, is going to provide a lot of help and support along this line so that you don't necessarily have to get caught up in negative cycles and patterns. other people's experience will teach you a lot. Books, and mentors don't have to be people you can see physically or have physical contact with
Yeah.
alone. Read, yes, study people who have done what you're doing, see out where they failed. In fact, learn a lot more from their failures than their successes, because a lot of times we like success stories, but success stories are the result of a combination of people's lines of failures and all of that. So people just come back out and tell you that these are, the success stories are usually sweet, but ask what went on backstage. Okay, we should be more
Mm.
interested in what went on backstage than now the celebration that's going on right now. How did we get here in the first place? So we talk about overnight successes, and people have said that, okay, most of those overnight successes, those are the longest night ever. They must be the longest night ever, because really there's nothing like an overnight success. So we learn from these things, and it helps us to keep ourselves in check. That's why, going back to what I said initially about being teachable, this is very, very important, because we can avoid a lot of suffering and heartache if we would just listen and not be stuck in our way. So while you might be very confident that, in fact, sometimes the people you will learn from may not even agree on your vision, what you're doing. So this is it. Don't be caught up on the personality, the person. So this person might have wisdom that can be of use to you, but you just want to shut down because didn't support this person that did not even support what I wanted to do and all of that. But this person has wisdom in particular areas, because if you're talking about a vision or a venture, now there might be this different aspect of it, the financial aspect, the administrative aspect, and whatever. And then this person has wisdom in the financial area that can help you. But because the person did not agree to the overall vision, you decide, no, I will not even talk to, I don't even want their advice. They should just pocket it. You do yourself a lot of disservice. Okay, so try to get pockets of wisdom, and it could come from different sources. And this is going to help really, I think it's just about being open to learning, research, and then praying as well, and being very observant. So many people are not self-aware in that sense. That means
Mm.
some people just live mindlessly. Sorry to use that word, like things just happen and they don't sit down and they are not introspective. So it's important to both be introspective and retrospective. Always pause to look back at, okay, what has worked up to this point? How have I interacted with this situation and this vision and all of
Mm.
how have factors interplayed for me? What can I take out? What can I adopt? What can I, ask questions, ask yourself questions, have conferences with yourself as much as you'll be having with mentors and with resources. Okay, so all these things are important. It would drastically reduce negative patterns and cycles.
Wow, thank you so much, ladies. This has been an amazing time for me. I've learned so much. Like, I've really learned so much. Like, God is just talking to me personally. I'm so grateful. I got a couple of take homes. It's a season to build character. It's a season to be teachable. And like Uche said, beyond reasonable doubt, be convinced, because not everybody is going to support you. Not even your closest allies, they may not believe in you, but you have to be convinced, and you have to stay consistent. And above all, I want to add this. God works with times and seasons. And as a child of God, you need to be sensitive to God's timing for your life and God's season for you. If you miss your season and your timing, I don't know what's going to happen. But I just want to encourage every one of us in your journey with God, in your journey in life. God is interested in your career. Trust me, God is interested in
True.
every part of your life. It's not just, the part where you go to church that God is interested in. No, no, no. He is interested in every area of your life. The Bible says it is God that works in you to will and to do of his good pleasure. Whatever God has called you to be, not everybody's going to be behind the pulpit. Whatever God has called you to be, God is interested in that area, in that field. So you also need to work with God and be sensitive when God wants you to move on, move up, step up. There will always be a pointer. But I think the issue most times is Believers, we are too busy, we are too caught up in a whole lot of things. We have our own ideas, our own opinions. Sometimes we need to calm down and say, okay, God, I need to walk with you. I know there is much more. I am born for much more. What's next? Or what is left? Because sometimes we are not even done with where God wants, where God is bringing us from. What is left? Then, Father, what next? Because it's not just about coming here and just following one straight. The Bible says any man that is born of the Spirit of God, he's like the wind. You don't even know where it's coming from or where it's going. So you can't say you fully understand God. As a believer, you need to stay with God and follow Him per time and per season. That's where you can't miss your season. And I just pray that every one of us, as we have come in here to listen to this, that indeed these words will bear fruits in our lives and we will not miss our seasons, we will not miss our timing, we will be sensitive to God's signs and seasons for our lives. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening and this moment, and have a
Hannah,
wonderful year.
okay,
Okay,
sorry,
Ramya.
just before we go, yes, I was going to say something, just put in a word. For some people who might have missed out on times and seasons, okay, God is also a merciful God. So if you are in that, if you find
Yeah.
yourself, in that space, don't condemn yourself. God is your father. You
Thank
have to
you.
be,
Yes.
yes, you have to be confident of the love and the mercy of the character of your father, to be merciful and gracious
Mhm.
towards you. So it says to come boldly before the throne of grace and
Merciful.
obtain mercy.
Yeah.
So mercy is available. Just be sincere
Yes.
about it. Go back to him. It can make up for the time that is lost. It's so mighty. I mean, really nothing can stop
Mm.
God. Okay, so when you say you're ready, he's ready too.
God is ready. Thank you. When you are ready, God is ready. Thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Mm.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, ladies, and have a wonderful evening. God bless
Thank you
you.
Bye.
too. Thank you too. Bye.
Thank